Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's now 1 o'clock, and it's time to start the third Responsible Travel and Tourism Forum webinar for 2013. I'm your host, Andrea Dixon. I'd like to send a warm welcome to RTTF's regular participants. We love you guys. And to our new participants, thank you for joining us. RTTF is designed to ensure the industry has access to continuous, responsible tourism learning, and that is the goal of our webinar today. We hope to expand your knowledge of sustainable tourism niches. To start off, it is time to say a welcome and a huge thank you to our series sponsors. They allow us to do these webinars, so thank you for believing in the work we continue to do here at RTTF. The organizations that have generously given their support are Eaton Chelsea, Baxter Travel Media, Ted Rogers School of Management at Ryerson University, and Air Canada. And I also want to take a moment to thank our speakers who are on standby. They are giving their time and sharing their knowledge, so thank you so much, guys. And finally, to you guys, the participants, I know you give your time too, and thank you for your input and enthusiasm. Now, it seems to be I have a follow-up to our last webinar. If you weren't able to join us for our webinar, it is archived at rttf.ca, so you can go to there to figure out what I'm going to spend a couple of seconds talking about. We did hope to have a link ready for you from the British Travel Association's Guidelines for Animal Welfare. They are going to be available tomorrow. It was so close, but they're not ready today. They will be ready tomorrow. In the meantime, if you need to know anything about animal welfare, they do have their minimum standards for animal welfare up on that link. That is at the bottom. But tomorrow, if you're a participant of the second webinar, we'll be sending out that information, and we'll also have it up on the website. And in the next webinar, I'm sure I'll have the link too. So just a little housekeeping from the last webinar. Those guidelines are coming. So here's our webinar series for 2013. Today, of course, we are talking about gaining an edge by finding a sustainable niche. The first two webinars are archived. If you've missed them, you can go back and listen. We hope you do. They were great. And then the other three ones, they are, the registration's open. You can sign up. And I'm not going to go through sort of in detail what they're all about, just because time is very tight today. So you can go to the website and find out exactly the descriptions for those webinars and sign up. Of course, today we're exploring sustainable tourism niches. The big takeaway from this webinar that I hope you guys will get when we're done is have you think about what niche excites you. We're going to give you a few ideas, but there really is no end in the specialties that you can gain skills in. Bird watching, sustainable food tours, slow food, countries, specializing in sustainable tourism suppliers, green weddings, honeymoons. I mean, you get the idea. You may know that ASTA, which is the American Society of Travel Agents, has its own niche travel specialist program. It's not focused on sustainable tourism, but if you did that course, you would see it's a good starting point, and you can make any niche sustainable by choosing suppliers and targeting clients who believe in the principle of sustainable tourism. So, of course, that brings up one of the questions that came up a lot of times from my agents is, how do you find clients? How do you build up clientele? And we're going to give you some ideas about this too today, but really, we can't go into too much detail today. We have so many speakers and not enough time. So it's really to get you started on your journey. I know we won't complete it today, but we hope to point you in the right direction to get you started and get you excited. So today, we are so lucky. First off, we have three speakers. First, we have Irene Lane. Now, she is calling from the United States, and she is a woman who has successfully done what I hope many of you will be inspired to do today. Irene started her own country and is now the premier online resource dedicated to inspiring people to think different, be different, and travel different. I cannot do justice to Irene in a few moments, so please check out her bio on rttf.ca, where you'll learn more about her incredible career that spans not only the travel sector, but media and technology. And then we're also privileged to have Keith Henry of the Aboriginal Tourism Association of BC. Mr. Henry is a Métis person, originally from Manitoba and Saskatchewan, but he now calls British Columbia home. And his bio is also fuller than I can ever hope mine will be. So we are thrilled to have his experience and expertise to learn from today. He's also active on Twitter if you want to follow him at Keith Henry at Métis. And I know Irene has a Twitter account too at Greenloons Eco. And then finally, we're thrilled to welcome Sanjay Verman. He is the Director, Marketing and Operations for the Travel Circuit. Most likely you're not familiar with this company, but it's a type of supplier I want you to keep your ears and eyes open as you build your sustainable tourism niche. And why? Well, you'll have to wait for his presentation, But the Travel Circuit is an amazing company that is totally committed to the principles of sustainable tourism. Everything Sanjay and his company does reflects this philosophy, so we're so happy to have him join today. Finally, our housekeeping details. I'm moderating the session. Our first speaker will speak for about 15 minutes. That's Irene. And then Keith and Sanjay will have about 10 minutes. And I know that's not a lot, but we wanted to present diverse options for you to explore at your leisure after the webinar. And then we'll do Q&A around 1:50. And just a little bit about webinar etiquette. Questions. We love questions. You can type them in onto the side there. If you can put who they're for, it helps me because I have to compile them all. And if you have any constructive comments or comments on the webinar series, that type of idea, if you email them to me or Baxter after, that'd be great. I'm going to turn it over to Irene right now, and she can inspire us. So Irene, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Andrea, for that introduction. I'm really happy to be here today. I'll start talking a little bit about Greenloons and greenloons.com. It's a 3-year-old company, and it's a web platform essentially that features eco-certified tour operators and lodges, and it's specifically geared towards the leisure traveler. So we focus on cultural, culinary, adventure type trips that targeted towards the leisure traveler. And we offer a marketing platform for these certified businesses, and then we offer consumers practical information about how to go about finding authentic, sustainable tourism packages. So that's a little bit about us, and I'll just dive right in. So we're going to discuss today, I know that there's already been a webinar that talked about green certification programs and the explanation behind it. You know, green doesn't mean things are more expensive or the clients will pay more, as well as answering your questions about certifications in general and green transparency. So I'm not going to go into that so much. The focus instead will be to provide you with information so you can talk to your clients about the concept of what sustainable tourism is and isn't, and what will get customers inspired to keep coming back. So let's first level set here. Defining sustainable tourism. And the way that I like to define it incorporates the values of C, S-E-E. So S stands for social empowerment, in the sense that these experiences are not tried and true. They are not your ho-hum types of experiences. It's something that will be more meaningful to the traveler and therefore protects against the homogenization and marginalization that does occur sometimes with mass tourism. E is for economic viability. Again, the idea that communities are benefiting from these types of experiences. And the second E is environmental responsibility, so that you're preserving these ecosystems through responsible tourism activities so that future generations can take part. So now with the principles of sustainable tourism, I won't go through each and every one, but the reason I wanted to provide these 7 is that they're a natural extension for you as you're talking with your clients when they're having all these different questions around what is sustainable tourism? What does it mean? I keep hearing about it. Is it just about recycling? Is it just about, in the case of hotels, reusing your towels and your sheets? There's so much more to that, and I'll be touching upon these principles a little bit later as we talk about how you would specifically communicate with clients. But these are jumping off points, as I mentioned, so that you can think about what works with you and your particular clientele. So we'll start with some statistics just to whet your appetite. And by the way, a lot of statistics can be found on responsibletravel.org, which is the Center for Responsible Travel, and the International Ecotourism Society, and their website is ecotourism.org. So responsibletravel.org and ecotourism.org have a lot of information and statistics that they've compiled along the way. And what we get from these statistics is that sustainable tourism is growing at a faster rate than any other tourism sector, and it's always good to be a part of a growth trend. And again, I know in a previous webinar, the Association of British Travel Agents, they've produced an a management and rating system for hotels as a part of their Travel Life program. The World Travel and Tourism Council has launched their own program, the Hotel Carbon Measurement Initiative, in collaboration with the International Tourism Partnership. The Travel Foundation has produced a set of industry tools for agents and operators and suppliers to use. And then my company offers, or will offer, we're actually in the process of going live with a new site tonight, which is lots of fun for anyone who's gone through that before. And part of that will be offering additional tools to our partners, our affiliate partners, so that they can, in line with what their clients, where their clients are looking to go, they'd be able to also provide additional access to authentic, sustainable tourism. So again, from a supply perspective, there's a lot out there, and even as you can see here from a demand side, this is a growing market that you definitely want to be a part of. But how do you figure out what type of customer you want to focus on? So again, as Andrea mentioned at the top of the call, that there are many different types out there, and I really just wanted to provide some food for thought. The business traveler, and of course the advantage for going after this particular market is that from a meeting planning, corporate travel services perspective, these areas, unlike the typical traveler, leisure traveler, they're already learning about what being green means, and green meetings and green conferences. This is something that's been talked about for a few years now, and it's something that there are certain folks who are specializing in green meetings, for example, and that it appears to just be a growing market and will continue to grow accordingly. So in terms of your individual business, of course, higher volume, higher rates of repeat business, depending on the existing relationships. Of course, the margins might vary greatly depending on the hotels that you're dealing with. However, and I know in Toronto, green meetings, conferences, certified sustainable hotels, it's very, very, very big business. And so are green retreats. It could be, and again, I'm just offering a lot of different ideas out there because I, of course, don't know exactly your particular clientele, but it could be annual corporate retreats. It could be specializing in, say, a wellness, get a group of people who are interested in yoga or meditation or something like that. And depending on the location and whether you're licensed to sell airline tickets, the margins can be really high on this type of, if you focus in this type of area. So if it's in line with your current client base, and you would want to become an expert in Canada or all of North America for green business meetings, retreats, things like that, it's certainly doable. On the leisure traveler side, it's certainly, depending on the current list of clientele that you have, it could be lower volume in the beginning because there's an educational effort that needs to occur with consumers that maybe have heard about green, as I mentioned before, but are not entirely sure what that entails. And unfortunately, at least in the United States, green products, they're priced at a 30-35% premium to so-called regular products. Just you go into your local grocery store, and I think from my perspective, as I've talked to many different people, there's this equating factor that green just means more expensive, and so that type of education needs to occur up front to make just assuage their concerns and more importantly focus on just how wonderful these experiences can be. As we talk about particular niches, family and senior travel, multi-generational travel, big business. You still have, and again, I'm looking at it more so from the American marketplace, there's still a number of seniors with disposable income and the time to be able to travel, and they also relatively healthy and want to take their grandchildren along as well. So this is a big, personally for our companies, this is a big sector of the business. Focusing on the millennial market, the 18 to 30 travelers, the advantage there is that certainly they're more in tune to what green is, but they're a heck of a lot more skeptical about who claims to be green. So it's a little bit different of an educational effort. You could focus on lodges, on day activities, volunteerism, but do keep in mind that if you do just focus on lodges, for example, the business model will need to be looked at because it can't be just straight commission. There might need to be some listing fees associated with that depending on who, how large your particular client base is. I wanted to share with you that just last month there was a report released by Amadeus, which is one of the GDS global distribution systems for hotels and airlines. And with respect to the millennials, they are becoming, their research shows that they're becoming explorers rather than tourists. They want to experience something new and share, i.e. brag about what they're doing. And sustainable travel lends itself very, very nicely to that trend. So I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit and give you some food for thought. So let's assume that you want to go down one of these routes. How do you build demand? How do you encourage these kind of lifestyle habits? I, recycle my garbage. I make sure to compost, whatever the case might be. To encourage these types of habits to become lifestyle habits as it relates to travel. So, switch it here. How do you get the word out? And no matter what direction you decide to go in, whether it's business, leisure, online PR will be a very, very big part of how you build credibility very quickly. Because with online PR, you're combining the best of creative ideas from the traditional offline PR with specific targeting and amplification and measurability. So when you know your client base, it's a lot easier to craft that message and get straight to them. Very, very, very powerful. But you have to define who your demographic is going to be, and because, as I mentioned before, even with the different leisure travel streams, you're going to have different messages regardless. So once you do figure out that target market that you want to bring in and go from there, you can utilize anyone, or hopefully as many as possible, of these 10 different strategies that I've outlined. The most important one is content, not only for your own business and website, but it doesn't need to be that you're an eloquent writer that just keeps, we all run businesses and we all are very busy. But the idea is to provide information to your clients in a way that they are going to continue to come back to see you as a resource in this area. So it could be in the form of videos, photography, infographics are huge. Be creative, and as long as you're in line with that specialty, then your message will get out. Google algorithm will take over, and it will be very powerful. The company image, personal branding, if you're interested in getting into sustainable tourism, great, but let's make sure you're walking the walk and talking the talk. It's more than just having a little kind of subset in your website or whatever. You do need to when a new or prospective customer comes and talks to you, that they realize that you really do believe in this niche, because otherwise then if it gets lost, it just won't come out. It may not be worthwhile for you to explore. Search engine optimization, I am running out of time already. So I won't go through all of these, but if people have specific questions about it, then I can definitely talk to you in more detail about it. The next slide is keeping clients interested. So at the end of the day, for the leisure traveler, travel is supposed to be fun. And for the business traveler, you want to make it different enough in terms of the experience so that it's enjoyable for them and repeatable. So it might be just a matter of suggesting some ideas that could be incorporated into their travels easily, understanding where your clients are coming from. They're going to have different motivations for why to include sustainability. It may be just about bragging rights. It may be about team building. It may be about storytelling. There's many different things. And as we're thinking about, we all learned in school about the 4 Ps of marketing: product, place, price, promotion. what is different about sustainable tourism that lends itself is you have to add purpose and people, the 2 more P's to that in your marketing message. And that combined is extraordinarily powerful. And I guess I'll just close with utilize partnerships out there. You don't have to do it all on your own. There are resources you'll be hearing, you've heard from a few, you'll be hearing some more later on, that you can access. And when you're a part of this larger network, it'll help you define what it is that you would specifically like to focus on. So that's it. That's about all the time I had, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Irene. I really want to say thanks for your success, and thank you for providing this advice. I know Irene would be open to emails and our regular questions, of course, at the end of the hour, but if you want some help getting started, she's a great resource. So I encourage you to take advantage of the resources. We're going to switch up the right now, and we're going to have Sanjay go. And Sanjay is going to actually take us out of Canada, and he's going to be speaking about his company, of course, Travel Circuit. It focuses on India and its neighboring countries, but I want you to see this as an opportunity to learn how to find sustainable tourism best practice suppliers. Sanjay and other companies like him, they represent real economic opportunity for agents, primarily because the markup on their net rates allows agents the opportunity, you guys, to realize a great return for your efforts, more than maybe the 8, 10, 12, maybe even 15% commission that the mass tourism operators pay. So the challenge is to find best practice companies like Sanjay. Oh, sorry, you can just in the countries that you hope to specialize in. So you may be interested in India, so Sanjay's is great, but if you're interested, maybe Costa Rica, but finding companies like Sanjay's will be the key. And yeah, so Sanjay, I'm going to pass it over to you right now, and you can take it away.
Hi, Sanjay. I represent Travel Circuit from India. But anyways, we have been into inbound tourism, that is, get people into India, show them not only India, the Indian subcontinent. But a few years ago, when online bookings were coming into vogue, when generic and mass tourism was almost taking over, I thought maybe our time is up. But I was absolutely wrong. It was a big time for niche agents. And what does niche tourism or sustainable tourism for me or anybody else would actually mean all about? It's just travel, as you see in the slide, just travel is not enough. It's not a journey, but an experience. Diversity, size, countless cultures leave everybody speechless. There's so much to see in the world. People-to-people contact is paramount. In most of the world, the communities are always living side by side. They're exchanging so much together, but in absolute peace by expressing the differences through color, textiles, art, craft. And our motto should be to conserve and enjoy the nature, to go forward. Today I was actually hearing an interview of Malala Yousafzai. Now she was shot in the head by the Taliban, and she was being interviewed by Christiane Amanpour of CNN. And the first question, the moment she came back to consciousness after operation in UK, was the first question she asked, is my father all right? The second question she said was she was so afraid, and how will she pay all the money for her treatment? And the answer to that was, the world is looking at her. So today, the time has changed completely. It is the basic fear of people. The only antidote for all the problems right now is contact from people to people, PP. That's exactly where we come in, the niche travel agents. But what matters is right now is deciding where to go and what to do, because there's no such thing as instant tourism. There's always, right now is the chance for the travel agent, which is a niche travel agent, to come into business. The other day, I'll give you an example. Everybody knows about Flight Center, a huge business conglomerate in this part of the world, the West. Now, they came out a couple of days ago. It's even after I sent in my presentation to you guys to see it over. And they came about and they started to talk about Flight Center is launching Holidays for Humanity brand. I'll cut short on this. I'll highlight a few things in this. And they said in their press launch that they have curated a site designed to be a place where experienced travelers can delve into options that cater to self as well as to soul, and that is the Flight Center release. They also said that Holidays for Humanity will offer vacations that include eco-resorts, yoga retreats, volunteering, cycling tours, edible adventures, sailing expedition, and much more. As a specialist travel service, Holiday for Humanity, and that's very important, encourages users to pick up the phone so that the travel agents, which is you, which are niche, can help develop vacation packages that respond to lifestyle needs of the customers, whilst delivering solutions to need of local communities. It's very important for today's traveler to be connected to local communities. This is the only way we can conserve the nature, we can conserve the people, we can hide all the fears that are presently going on in the world, and here that is where we come in. There are lots of modes to do that. The only thing is the presentation, the content, as my earlier speaker was saying, the content has to be very important. And the person you are dealing with in any part of the world is also very important. There are so many various ways where you can do tourism. I would say something specific to India. The Indian Himalayas, for instance. 70% of the Himalayas are in India. And it's a huge chain. Everything belongs there. Indian Himalayas. Now, you cannot go to a generic travel agent, just type in and go to Indian Himalayas. You have to go to a specialist. That's niche again. Again, textiles, tribes. Now, there's so many tribes in the world. There's so much in textiles. There's so much to be done. There's so much of handicraft. There's so much of culture. There's so much of spirituality in the world. Now, for that, you again cannot go online. You have to go to a specialist. And that's where you come in. I have personally being trained as an international yoga instructor also from Quebec, from Shivananda. So maybe I'm one of the very few who know yoga, and you can connect yoga with spirituality, with the wellness and all that stuff. Now, you cannot go to somebody who does not know yoga. Again, you have to come to a niche travel agent who can design your itinerary accordingly. There's so much to be done. And right now is the time for us, the niche, to come into business. It is the time for middle level, low level, small level, or ultra small scale. It's very, very big time. The big agencies are almost over, which are generic travel agents. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please call us. We have our contact here, which is Mr. Munir Talib. He can be contacted locally in Toronto. You have our email address, and now everything else is available on the net. And thank you so much for listening me over.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. And I really want to stress that Sanjay's company is great. They use markup instead of commissions, but the commission levels are so much better than what you're going to find from a lot of other places. So finding companies like his that know the area they operate in and really respect the local environment, people and animals, it's a great way to excel and to set yourself apart from other competitors. So now I believe we have Keith Henry. Introduce us to the incredible opportunity that Aboriginal tourism offers. What excites me so much about this niche is its uniqueness and how it provides a genuine opportunity for travel agents to have unique products that serve clients who want to stay in Canada. So we went outside of Canada with Sanjay's company, but if you want Canadian product, we have great unique products here that, again, you need specialized knowledge for, and you're not going to necessarily find on your online travel agency. So Keith, if you're there, I'm going to hand the virtual microphone to you.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, hello.
Hi. I am here, and my apologies for being a bit late for the call, but I I am having a real challenging time opening up the, and it's not you, it's my internet connection because I'm traveling in northern BC, but I thought it was working this morning, but in the area I'm in now, unfortunately it's not allowing me to look directly at the presentation.
Okay.
So I'm just going to try and do my best to speak.
Well, if you talk, we can handle the slides from here. You just say next slide, perhaps, and Jacqueline, and behind the scenes, can click on the button for you. So.
Yeah, that's great, Keith. Just say next slide, and I'll move to the next slide for you. No problem at all.
Sure, yeah, I just, challenges, I don't, I don't have that in front of me, but I will speak my way through as much of it as I can. So first of all, I want to say thanks for having Aboriginal Tourism Association and myself specifically for the presentation. It is important that we connect with travel agents from everywhere. And what ATBC does is essentially function as a marketing organization for Aboriginal tourism products in British Columbia. And we're really are quite proud of what's been developed in British Columbia. And, various agents have some significant history working with our products in BC. So for many of you that don't know, I know the presentation is there in front of you. What I tried to do was just give a simple overview of how we, just a bit about our industry and where things are at, and some key contact information. And then I know there's two key people at the very end of the presentation that are important for agents to connect with if they want.
Oh no.
Yeah. Sorry. Am I cutting out?
For a second, go on.
Okay, so I've just, what I've said is at the end of the presentation is there's some key contact information for our marketing people that would be more than willing to help any of the agents on the line today to get information about the products we certainly support and represent. For those of you that don't know, we do three key things. We do training, we do product development, and we do marketing. And so we work with the travel trade, and we work with a lot of our, agents from many different companies, both domestically and internationally. Our businesses at the community level, or pardon me, at the product level, have some direct relationships themselves, or otherwise we sort of see ourselves playing a key relationship supporter and helping shepherd those business opportunities. So I think what I was really trying to present today was to give people more of a sense of the different unique and authentic experiences we have to offer, making sure that the agents with your networks are familiar. And what we've seen is tremendous growth and support for an authentic Aboriginal tourism experience in British Columbia. So we've got basically many different offerings, and on the presentation itself, on some of the slides, what I had tried to present, and I do apologize for the fact that I seemingly can't get internet where I am here, it was an example of Haida Gwaii, and there's some specific, there's a cultural center, a destination center, or pardon me, destination experience, and capturing some outdoor adventures with it. And it's that kind of key destination that I think people can get a really sort of exclusive type experience if they haven't seen Aboriginal tourism in that sort of light before. It's not just the cultural center per se. It's a number of outdoor adventures and destinations and different type of activities and experiences that visitors can get, and we really see growing in British Columbia. This last few years, we've seen tremendous growth in visitors from many different areas of not only domestic but international. We've seen we're averaging about 10% growth in visitors on an annual basis right now, of roughly basically what I've noted in the slide presentation is 52 sort of truly market-ready businesses that we're working with that can provide world-class experiences. We're developing a number of other ones for the future, but we've provided some examples in the presentation that you were given, and the other one being in Klemtu, which is Spirit Bear sort of adventures. So, I mean, it's difficult for me to provide this off the top of my head, but I think what I would like to sort of strongly encourage people, if you haven't been to our website, take a moment. We would love to work with the agents that are on the phone if they haven't had a relationship directly with some of the businesses we represent. or want to work through our staff, the people that need to be contacted at the very end of the presentation are Paula Ames or Dana Shoez. Both of them would be very willing and helpful to add some of our experiences into the itineraries you might be moving along or selling and so forth. And I think that it's a matter of just getting familiar with the different products and services we have available, and that we're very proud of the developments we've had, and it's really seen as world leading in terms of what's been developed for Aboriginal cultural tourism in British Columbia. So I guess it's a very preliminary sort of presentation today, and I think that what I would like to leave you with is just, of course, thank you to Baxter for helping set this up, and I do apologize for the fact that I seemingly can't get on the internet here, but I hope that through maybe the way the slides were gone through very quickly, that could give you just a small sample on the set. And we've got a lot of great vignettes and B-roll on our website, and if you want access to any of our photos or anything, we'd be more than happy to provide that as you look at adding our kind of products to possible packages or itineraries you might be selling. So I would leave it there and just say that we'd be willing to help in any of that regard.
Great. Keith, that was perfect. Maybe I have the slide in front of me. I'm wondering maybe if I can go back, our participants don't mind, I'll go back and I can ask some specific questions regarding what you have up here on your slide.
Sure.
So I noticed that you have webinars too. You mentioned your tourism organization, one-on-one webinars to agents. So that is one thing they can contact you if they want to get that set up as well. How long are are they sort of live webinars and stuff, or did they taped? Or maybe you can tell us a little bit more about those.
Yeah, when it comes to the webinars, we do it live, and it would be on a one-on-one basis as discussed or as presented, and it would be basically as time needed. We've had some quick sort of webinars of people where you give them a sort of some specific information about products and services that might be available that they might want to add or become more familiar with. So it really depends on what the agents are looking for, and then we would just we cater it to the specific agent's need. And so it can be as short as a half hour to as long as well over an hour. So it just depends on what the request is. But what I'm saying is that we provide that sort of one-on-one support because we know how important it is that you're familiar with the product you're selling.
That's really amazing. I think that'll appeal to a lot of people. And then we have a couple of samples that you had here, like Spirit Bay Lodge. So maybe if you have any reason why that would be chosen or why that is unique, or.
Well, we did. We chose Spirit Bear Lodge specifically with Klemtu because Spirit Bear is very obviously in terms of the Aboriginal community. It's on the west coast, obviously, of British Columbia, near the Heiltsuk Nation, which is about sort of central coast along British Columbia, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And the community of Klemtu, Spirit Bear has a very significant historical, cultural relevance and spiritual significance to the community. So it's really one of those very exclusive types of products we're seeing, and it's an example of product that is being sought out internationally by many visitors. This current year sold out. The previous years have been selling out. So it's important that if agents want to start working with these products, they should start developing relationships probably sooner than later, because we are seeing demand increasing, and Spirit Bear was the examplest one to just, if they don't know about it, it's just a very, very unique experience, and it's seen as a really exclusive world-class experience. So it's important that they start to get familiar with that, and if they're not, we'll help them get familiar, and they can help market and sell it. And our the businesses and the operators we work with are certainly understand working and supporting commissionable rates and all that sort of relationship on the business end.
Great. And then just trying to see the next one. The next time was your client's journey plus Aboriginal Kimono equals an authentic experience. And that's true. We have, I'm just trying to go with the cultural center and a winery too. I didn't realize that there was a winery. So the product diversity is huge then, obviously. That's one of the takeaways, I guess, is from the slides.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, if you like I said, what I would have, today was a very surface value, sort of surface introduction, and I would hope that people get on our website and look at. There's anything from wineries to jet boat adventures to looking at outdoor wildlife. There's many different types of Aboriginal cultural tourism that's been developed, and I think that the more that they look on our site and if just take a peek at it and then they can contact our staff, I think that's where I'd like to sort of hopefully encourage them.
Take it from there. That looks good. Okay, and then I think that's it because then the next steps are up there on the slides, and we also have the website is right there, and then we'll put up the contact information there for the marketing and travel trade. So that was great. So we're actually, I want to say thanks to all our speakers. I know it was very quick, guys, and just a quick overview of everything, but I want to communicate to the agents that I really think, the economic future is much more secure if you specialize in niches. The purchase of when people buy these products, you have to have knowledge and skill, so you can't readily replicate these products and services on mass internet travel sites. So the content just isn't there in a lot of cases. So it's great to have these resources like Sanjay and like Keith and like Irene who can help us build our knowledge. You can go look at specializing in countries, you can look at products like the Aboriginals or weddings or whatnot, or be more of an overall like Irene. But no matter what you do, you have to know who the players are in the market. So this is just the first step in introducing you guys to some options. And as all our speakers have said, at any time, they're all open to being contacted. I know Irene works with a lot of agents to help build the marketing plans to try and get the contacts. So lots of opportunities. We are going to be going to, I have to go through my slides here. Questions. Now, while you're typing in your questions, I'm going to type away right now, but I would like to take this opportunity to remind you about our next webinar, which is in 2 weeks, and it's Maximum Satisfaction, How Do Green Policies Equal Satisfied Clients? During this webinar, we're going to have Paul Guardian from Delta Hotels, who's in charge of the Delta Greens program, and case studies from attractions, skis and hills, these companies have implemented green policies and they've had success. But to make it really relevant to you guys, we're going to be providing a toolkit that you can take away from the webinar, and you can emulate what the speakers are talking about. So you can go beyond the recycling programs and really have a cradle-to-grave program. So that is in 2 weeks. I encourage you to sign up at rttf.ca. And it's now time, we'll start taking some questions because we have our speakers and our resources here. So I'd really like to take advantage of that. And I know we have some, so I'm going to start reading. Or Irene, I have one here, influence marketing and social benchmarking. No question, what exactly is that? Maybe you could elaborate that a bit more, Irene, if you don't mind.
Sure, no problem. So influencer marketing refers to the concept that as time, money, and resources are limited, it's hard to get the message out today when you have so many disparate places that people get their message. So one way to get your specific message out is to find out who the influencers are in your particular field. So let's take the example if you wanted to go into the green meeting space. Whether it's looking on Twitter or Google Plus or Facebook or other review sites, which people are coming up as your green meeting experts, or self-proclaimed green meeting experts, or actual green meeting experts. And what we're trying to do is target those that seem to have a large following. And then it's a matter of partnering with that individual or group of people, engaging them so that either over social media or perhaps you partner. I'll give you an example. I recently partnered with a company in the United States that specializes in day travel trips, but you book locally. So you're going to Boston, you want to do something sustainable in Boston working with a local guide, you just show up and book with the local guide and go from there. So it's a day activity. It's not meant to be a big vacation package necessarily. However, they approached they approached us to say, what we'd like to put together an infographic that just explains what ecotourism is. We're still at that point with our customers. Can we work together? So this was a great opportunity because where I and Greenloons don't have a lot of coverage within the United States for various reasons that I won't go into on this call, they do. And it was a potential opportunity to be with an influencer in the local space, and then that way we could share each other's resources. So that's a specific example, but you could do the same thing with whatever niche you wanted to get involved with, partnering up with someone, engaging them, sharing ideas, sharing photos, sharing videos, whatever the case might be, to help each other's markets, help each other's client base. And social bookmarking refers to when you do write an article, maybe it's a top 5 list of places to go or things to do or tips and whatever the case might be, submitting them to the various sites like Delicious and others out there, because people are getting their information from so many different sources. And again, it goes back to once you've identified your demographic, part of that is identifying where they're getting their information from. And for example, if you want to target millennials, they're going to these types of sites that take information from disparate sources and placing them on their kind of personalized desktop and look and feel. You want to be a part of that and be in front of them. If you have an article, go ahead and submit it to those sites. So that's what social bookmarking was about.
Oh, great. Thank you. And I have another question for you. Kylie has said that you mentioned there were support networks. Can you elaborate on that, or what were those?
So the networks that I was referring to on the supply side was about the Association of British Travel Agents, having produced some rating systems for their hotels if you wanted to go into that space. World Travel and Tourism Council has launched their Hotel Carbon Measurement Initiative. The Travel Foundation has a set of industry tools for agents. And I threw in my company as well as kind of a resource, a networking resource to go to. And I hate to caveat all this to say it depends what niche you want to get involved with sustainable tourism. Obviously, the Sanjay and Keith on the phone are also excellent resources to go to, depending on what niche you want to be involved with. So those were the networks that I specifically were looking at. And then, of course, if you want to get a broader feel for what the industry is looking like and trending towards, then I refer to some other organizations such as the International Ecotourism Society, which is www.ecotourism.org, and the Responsible Travel Organization, which is responsibletravel.org, simply.
Great. Well, thank you. And Keith, Christine was wondering about the rates for Aboriginal itineraries. I guess tell her a little bit more about where to find. Would she go directly to your marketing people, or how would we figure out the rates for those?
Well, we support, you can go directly to the businesses. So, you can look on our website, and if there's specific businesses you're interested in possibly adding to some sort of package or whatever, you can deal directly with them, or we're offering that support to you to help, we use the term shepherd the relationship together, and it doesn't cost anything for that. We just help support that to help introduce you and maybe answer any preliminary questions you might have, or help give you a bit more product awareness. So the rates, we do understand different rates in the travel agent, different expectations on rates, but I would say that the rates we understand are very industry competitive and industry standard in a lot of ways. So we do work a lot with our businesses to ensure that they understand that and how these relationships are formed. So I would ideally ask you to contact one of our staff to help support that. I think that would be probably the more recommended route that I would suggest to you today. And then we would certainly work on that. But I can assure people that the market-ready businesses that we support and the experiences that you may think of adding to your packaging or sales would be very industry competitive.
Okay, and then I guess that would be sort of the same. She was also asking on the website. She knows that only 2011 and 2012 itinerary details are on your site. So, again, would be to contact the people at the end of your, I guess, at the end of your presentation to get the most up-to-date itineraries. Would that be correct then?
Yeah, that's right. And those itineraries, that date was the original piece that we put on, an original sort of suggested itineraries. There was about 18 of them at that time. There's more than that now. So we've been actually, although the date may look like that, we've been adding inventory and suggested itineraries on our website. So, and both of our staff can help you better understand how we would suggest marketing and selling those suggested itineraries.
Great, great. So I'm just going through if we have any more questions. If you do have questions, please type them in. Irene, I don't know, maybe you can speak a little bit about more what your company does and how you can help agents if they were to contact you.
Sure. So we have we work with many different guiding companies and lodges around the world, and the stipulation for listing on greenloons.com is they need to be independently eco-certified. So what we have is an opportunity for these smaller companies to be able to have access to a greater consumer base. So most of our customers are United States and Canadian. However, we do get a lot from the UK and Southeast Asia as well. So just an interesting mix. Nonetheless, agents can work with us. We do work with other agents, and what we do is offer them the opportunity, and it'll be much more powerful, hopefully in a couple of days, that you'll be able to select, depending on your specific client needs and client base. If you are only specializing, for example, in South America or Central America or Europe, then you can select from those different trips and packages that are available and utilize or post them onto your websites as well. And if that isn't something that's possible with your website, we of course can share the information accordingly and be able to have a backtrack system so that credit is assigned accordingly. So we have that system in place, and we're hoping to even make it more powerful.
Great, great. And I know if people are going to be working with Sanjay's company, because I worked with him when we had ours, Sanjay, you work with groups, but you also do FIT travel, so custom itineraries, so short and long tours, eh? Maybe you can tell a little bit about, Sanjay, about how the trips are put together for agents when they call and
That's a very good question. In fact, for last 2 decades, I have been struggling with this, and now we have realized that it's very important to be B2B than be B2C. It's very important to be business to business. And most of the itineraries which have been designed and they are on the website, they are templates. Now, the most important thing in the whole thing is for the niche travel agent and for sustainable tourism is to actually find out the products available worldwide, and there are a variety of products. So what happens is we have given a basic template. You can download those itineraries and we give you a very special price. The prices are much lower than what you will find online otherwise, and these prices are very secretive between ourselves and the agent, who could be anywhere in the world. We are already dealing with a lot of people from Belgium, from Canada, from US, from Canada itself, and those rates are between us and the travel agents, and they can be marked up. And all the itineraries, most of them, have to be suitable to a particular person or a particular design and what they want to do. And there's so much but what they can do. We are partnering in voluntary tourism right now with a company called Give Get Go. Now they were doing a lot of stuff in Africa, and the moment I was introduced to them, we have started doing a lot of stuff in India, because India needs a lot of volunteerism. And while they're volunteering in building schools or toilets and all that stuff, they're also doing a lot of cultural tourism. So there are lots of different things which can be built in. And the prices are fantastic, and you earn much more than you can actually earn by selling maybe cruises or airlines
oh,
in niche tourism.
That's right, and that's the way to go for the future. I agree. So Christine has another one for you, Irene. Do you offer opportunities for travel agencies to be listed? She already leans heavily towards sustainable tourism on her site.
I think I definitely would be open to understanding more about Christine's business. We don't have that now because we're dealing directly with the supplier. But
Yeah.
let's talk.
Let's talk. That's right. Yeah. I know Linda, I see, is typing a question for there. I'm just trying to think here. So Irene, right now, basically on Green Loons, you have lots of relationships with suppliers that you have that you've vetted out. So it's really just helping agents build their product, and then so they can become specialists in the product area. Is that kind of correct? What?
Part of it, certainly. There's a lot of content and information that there's no issue in reusing, and just for educating people more about what sustainable tourism is and isn't, so that part of the site is quite robust. But the other side of it, in terms of specifically helping agents with new, unique, different, memorable, authentic, awesome travel packages for the leisure traveler, we certainly can help with that.
Okay. And Linda, I noticed on there that you would like Sanjay's contact information. Of course, we can get that to you. It was on his presentation, so when this is archived, it will be there, but I'm sure we can send that to you. If you just send contact Baxter, they can get it to you directly. So, yeah. So again, I just want to sort of recap the presentation here. I think what we've all learned is that, there's product specialization, and people like Keith can really help with that. And whatever niche you decide upon, you're going to have to figure out which products suit, and companies like Irene's can definitely help you along that way. Or there's sort of the country option too, that you can really get to be specialist in a certain area. And I actually saw today over Travel, I think it was American Express, was saying that they are going to be working closely with travel agents who have specialized knowledge in countries and diverting some of their business directly to agents with specialized knowledge. So I just want to iterate again that the key is becoming a specialist, whatever it is, whatever interests you. I do want to say, please sign up for our next webinar. I believe we're putting it up there on the chat line. It's Green Policies. We're going to have a really good checklist for you guys to follow. It's going to be practical. We're going to have Delta talk about their Delta Greens Hotel. We still have a couple minutes for questions if anyone has any more questions. But feel free to jump in. Did any of our speakers, is there anything you'd like to add? A couple minutes of maybe a minute each or something to sum up anything? If anything you couldn't say in the short presentation time that I gave you, now is an opportunity. We have a little bit more time right now. So maybe
Any more questions? We can probably wrap it up.
Okay, yeah. Christine, it was just, the American Express. Yeah, it just came over the wire, Christine. She's asking about the American Express search for niche agents. I just saw it this morning, so I haven't had a chance to fully investigate it, but I guess they had a big conference, and they announced for their gold, or whatever their top is, I can't remember exactly, their top people who have the American Express, they're going to be diverting inquiries directly to travel agents, but they are going to be vetting the agents to make sure they have specialized knowledge. So again, I think more and more the industry is recognizing that specialized knowledge, whatever it is you choose, whatever niche you want it to be, whatever sustainable tourism niche, just pick one. Hopefully, maybe some of the speakers today will be able to help you along your way. But yeah, that was. I have one more here before I. Does anyone know of training for travel agents wanting to get into health and wellness sector? I don't know. Irene, you might be more. And Sanjay has a little bit of help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he has a bit. You can contact him. But Irene, do you have a health and wellness training sort of sector? Or
I apologize. I don't know of specific training for that. Go ahead.
Can I come in here?
Yeah, for sure, Sanjay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, health and wellness. Now, it is the most important part of tourism right now in the world, and India takes a lead in that. And in any case, your health and wellness you can do right now here in Canada in a place called Quebec. We have shivananda.org. You just contact them and they have a lot of health and wellness programs available there, and you can do a training in yoga, in Ayurveda, in organics, and in everything available. And it's possible here in Canada itself, and they have their offices worldwide. You can register anywhere, and they have multiple programs for health and wellness. And for the real experience, come to India.
Yeah, there you go. And actually, Buffy, I was thinking too, if you're thinking spas, I don't have time right now because we only have about a minute left. Next webinar, or I can contact you directly. I know someone who is doing that area. I was working with them a little bit before when I had my company, so I will expand on that. But fortunately, don't have the resource right in front of me at my fingertips. So I do want to say thank you to our speakers. You guys were fantastic. I know it was hard. It was a very short presentation, and the questions and answers were a bit longer. So I really appreciate your time. So thank you, Irene. Thank you, Keith Henry. Keith, I know it was particularly tough for you without your internet. And Sanjay, we really appreciate your knowledge. And more than that, I really appreciate you guys being willing to have our participants contact you as they start their journeys and go and maybe enter into a niche that interests them. I'd also like to say thank you to our series sponsors. I mean, these guys really step up when we need them to. Air Canada, Eaton Chelsea, Ted Rogers School of Management at Ryerson, and of course, Baxter Travel Media. We do have our Green Policy webinar in 2 weeks if you want to sign up at rttf.ca. And finally, I have to say thank you to our participants. I mean, you guys know it. You make these webinars what they are, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I think I've got all the questions pretty much, so if that's it, it is 2 o'clock, and that's it for today. But of course, RTTF is to be continued. So thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.